All right. So, in these two problems that we are going to work on, we are going back to lesson 2 where we talked about percent change. So if you're unfamiliar or you still need some help on that, that is found in lesson 2. So in regards to this, we say the average concert ticket price in 2015 was $95. The average ticket price in 2023 is $128. What is the percent increase in the average cost of concert tickets? Round to the nearest tenth of a percent if necessary. All right. So if we go back into that formula in regards to percent change, first off, I wanted to make sure that I point out that this information can be found in your reference sheet. So if you go to your reference sheet, it actually gives us the formula for percent of change. So I want you to become familiar with that. But basically, that formula says that we are going to take the final value, we're going to subtract out our initial value, and then divide it by the initial value, and then multiply it by 100. So we're going to work those steps out together to see what the answer is. So, what did we, let's write this formula out first. We're ending with our final value. So I'm just going to put final minus our initial, okay, or original is what I've been saying in the previous videos. So the final or the original, subtract that from the final, and then you're going to divide that by the initial amount. And then what that means is that we're going to come out with the percent of change, okay? And then you would multiply by 100, and that's going to give you your percent of change. Okay. And just so you're aware, in the lesson, we didn't talk about this formula being done this way, but we did do the work, remember? So at the end, we just converted it into a percent sign. That's basically what is saying, that you need to have it with the percent sign on there. All right. So let's see what we've got. In this example, what was our final amount? The final amount is, where are they? The final amount is in 2023. It's 128. So we're going to put that as the final amount. Now, what was the initial amount? The initial amount was $95. And then we're going to divide that by that same amount. So 95. So when we subtract 95 from 128 minus 95, we are left with 33. And then we just need to divide that by 95. All right, so 33 divided by 95 gives me 0.3 and a whole bunch of numbers, right? But go back to the question. I want to make sure that you understand something. They say round to the nearest tenth of a percent. Well, first thing, we know that because we are going to convert it into percent, we need to move it two places. And because they want us to round it to the nearest tenth, that is going to be one additional place value that we're going to move. So I need at least three numbers to be written down, okay? So I'm going to put 0, 3, 4, and then I'm going to stop at the third digit. And then I'm going to look at my right-hand man and see what happens here. So should I round up or should I stay a 7? Okay. Hopefully you said stay a 7 because 3 is less than 5. So that means that we stay put. All right. So how do I represent this as a percent? Well, there's a couple ways. You could either do like it does, like it tells us to in the formula, and multiply this by 100. So 0.347, if you plug in times 100, that is going to give you 34.7. Make sure that you add your percent. Okay. This just lets us know that we've shifted our decimal two places. The other thing that you could do is the way that I prefer, which is, let's see, 0.347. I just shift them. So 1, 2. So remember, percent means 100. So my decimal now sits between the 4 and the 7. So when I rewrite that, 34.7, and then you add your percent sign. Either way, you're going to come out with the right answer. So the correct answer is 34.7%. So let's look at the next problem that we have, problem number 8. And it is also going to be a percent problem as well. So let's see what we've got there. Let me find that problem. Okay. All right. So in this example, again, it's coming from the same lesson, lesson 2.2, where we learned about percent change. And so in this example, we have Molly, who lives in Sunset Valley, Texas. And she noted that in 2017, the population was 3,925. And in 2020, the population was 4,105. I mean, 105. Determine the percent change in the population of Sunset Valley from 2017 to 2020. All right. So this is two parts. First thing they want to know is what is the percent change? The second thing is they want us to tell them, was that an increase or a decrease? Okay. So remember that same formula. We can find it on our reference sheet. So make sure that you use that on the test. Our percent of change, remember, is going to be the final amount minus the initial or the original amount. And then you're going to divide that by the initial amount. And of course, we need to represent it as a percent. So you need to shift the decimal 2 places to the right or multiply by 100 in order for you to do that. All right. So we have, let's see, I'll first write out the formula. So I'm going to take my final minus the initial. And then we're going to divide that by the initial, which will give me, they say in their formula, multiply by 100, but we know that. So multiply by 100, and that is going to give me the percent of change. Percent of change. All right. So what is our final amount? What did we end with? So we're comparing from 2017 to 2020. We ended with 4,105. So 4,105 is our final amount. We started off in 2017 with 3,925. And you're going to also use that quantity, your initial amount, as the denominator. So 3,925. All right. So let's go and plug this into our calculator and see what we get. So we've got 4,105 minus 3,925. And we come out with 180. And we're going to divide that by our denominator, which is 3,925. And when we convert that, what will we get? So 180 divided by 3,925. All right. So we come out with 0.04. And we've got a whole lot of numbers here. So remember, we know that when we want to convert it into a percent, you're going to have to shift it 2 places, right, to add that percent sign. And then we'll just do like we did in the last example and just round to the nearest tenth, even though they don't tell us that. So that means that I want three numbers to the right of the decimal, as far as what we can see right now. So I have 0, 4, and then the 5 would be my third digit. Before I can drop any numbers, remember, you need to look at your right-hand man and see what happens, right? So looking at this, hopefully you recognize that it should round up to a 6 because our 8 is larger than 5. So we're going to say 0.046 and then drop everything else, okay? So we've rounded. Now let's convert that into our percent. So that is 0.046. You can multiply that by 100. If you multiply by 100, you're going to get 4.6%, okay? Or if you use my method, which is just shifting the decimal, then you know that's 1, 2. So again, it's going to sit in between the 4 and the 6. So it's still the same, okay? So our answer is 4.6. That is the percent of change. Now, what kind of change was that? Was that an increase or was it a decrease? Well, let's look and see. Back in 2007, our initial amount was 3,925, and now we have 4,105. So hopefully you recognize that that is an increase, right? We went from 3,925 to 4,105. So it is an increase. So the answers for this one is going to be 4.6% and increase in regards to part B.